Once upon a time, in the cold, snowy land of the North Pole, there lived a kind and generous man named Nicholas. Nicholas was no ordinary man. He was wealthy and had a big heart. He loved nothing more than to bring happiness to others, especially the children who lived in nearby villages. Nicholas had a very special hobby. In his free time, he would carve beautiful wooden toys, each one more intricate and delicate than the last. He spent hours working in his workshop, shaping and polishing each toy until it was perfect. However, there was one thing about Nicholas that was different from most people. He never showed anyone his creations. The toys stayed hidden in his workshop, waiting for the right moment to be shared. As Christmas approached one year, Nicholas began to think about how he could make the holiday even more special for the children who lived in the villages. He knew how much they loved Christmas, and he wanted to be a part of their celebration. One morning, as he sat by his warm fireplace, an idea came to him. He would surprise the children with gifts of his hand-carved toys. So Nicholas spent the next few days carving as many toys as he could. He worked quickly, filling baskets with beautiful wooden dolls, toy soldiers, miniature trains, and wooden animals. He was excited to share these gifts with the children, but he realized that he had a challenge ahead of him. How could he get the toys into the homes of all the children, especially since most of them lived far away? After much thought, Nicholas came up with a plan. He would visit each house on Christmas Eve, quietly slipping down the chimney and placing the toys into the stockings that hung by the fireplace. He loved the idea of secretly bringing joy to the children while they slept, dreaming of the magic of Christmas. That very night, when Christmas Eve arrived, Nicholas set out on his first gift-giving adventure. He wore a warm coat and a red scarf to protect himself from the freezing cold wind. He carried a large bag full of toys and made his way to the nearest house. The moonlight shone brightly over the snow-covered ground, casting long shadows across the village. When he reached the first house, Nicholas climbed up to the roof and peered down the chimney. Carefully, he dropped a toy into the chimney, and it landed softly in the stocking. He smiled to himself, proud of his secret gift-giving. Then, without making a sound, he climbed back down and hurried to the next house. Nicholas repeated this process again and again, moving from house to house, delivering his hand-carved toys to the children. But after several hours of climbing up and down chimneys, he began to feel tired. His legs were sore, and the cold was starting to get to him. He needed a break, but he still had many more houses to visit. Feeling exhausted, Nicholas made his way back to his home. There, he looked out the window at the snowy landscape, and an idea popped into his mind. He could use his sleigh to deliver the gifts more quickly. Nicholas had a sleigh that he had built years ago, but it was no use without help. The snow was deep and thick, and the sleigh was stuck. As he struggled to free the sleigh, something magical happened. Just as he was about to give up, a bright light appeared before him. Out of the light stepped a beautiful angel, her wings shimmering with light. She smiled at Nicholas and spoke in a gentle voice. "Nicholas, you are a good and kind man. I see how much you care for the children, and I want to help you." The angel reached out and touched the reindeer that were tied to the sleigh. Immediately the reindeer began to glow, and Nicholas could see that they had changed. They were no longer ordinary reindeer. They were magical, able to fly. The angel spoke again. "These reindeer will now be able to carry you across the sky, no matter how far you need to go." Before Nicholas could say a word, the angel waved her hand, and suddenly a group of little elves appeared. The elves were dressed in bright green clothes, with tall green hats and long, funny ears. They were small, no taller than the average chair, and they giggled with delight as they gathered around Nicholas. The angel smiled and said, "These elves are here to help you." They will make toys for the children, and they are very fast. They will work with you to make sure every child receives a gift." Nicholas was in awe. He had never seen such magic before, but he felt overjoyed. The elves began to load the sleigh with more toys, and Nicholas realized that with their help he could deliver gifts to all the children in the world. The reindeer pawed at the snow, ready to take flight. As Nicholas climbed into the sleigh, he turned to the angel and said, "Thank you for this wonderful gift. I will be sure to spread joy and happiness to all the children." The angel smiled and waved as Nicholas called out to his reindeer, "Ho, ho, ho, let's go!" With a mighty leap, the reindeer flew into the sky, carrying the sleigh higher and higher. Nicholas could hardly believe what was happening. The sleigh soared above the clouds, with the magical reindeer pulling it swiftly through the cold night air. Below, the world was blanketed in snow, and the lights of the villages twinkled like stars. Nicholas and his helpers traveled across the world, visiting homes in every corner of the globe. With each stop, the elves worked quickly to drop toys into stockings, and Nicholas smiled as he whispered, "Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night." By the time the sun began to rise, Nicholas and his sleigh had made their way back to the North Pole. Exhausted but filled with joy, Nicholas parked the sleigh and hugged each of the elves. He looked up at the sky, grateful for the magic that had made this Christmas so special. The next morning, as the children awoke to the sound of birds singing and the warmth of the sun on their faces, they rushed to the fireplace to see what had appeared in their stockings. To their delight, they found beautiful wooden toys, some they had dreamed of, others they never even imagined. The children squealed with joy, running to their parents to show off their new treasures. And so, from that day forward, Nicholas, now known as Santa Claus, continued to visit children all over the world each Christmas Eve. He became the symbol of generosity, kindness, and the true spirit of Christmas. With his magical reindeer, his little elves, and his sleigh that could fly, Santa Claus brought happiness to children everywhere, year after year. And every time the snowflakes began to fall, the people would look up to the sky and know that Santa Claus was on his way, spreading love and joy to all. And just before the night was over, he would always say, "Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night."